In a quiet little village surrounded by silver streams and whispering woods, there lived a girl named Lila. She was known across the valley not for her beauty, not for her kindness, but for one thing only, her laziness. While other children rose with the sun, fetched water, helped their parents, and went to the fields, Lila stayed curled up in her soft straw bed, yawning and dreaming. Her mother, tired of calling her every morning, would sigh and say, "One day, my dear, your laziness will cost you more than you can imagine." But Lila never believed it. "Why rush?" she'd say with a grin. "The sun rises every day. The chores can wait." The villagers often shook their heads. "Poor woman," they'd whisper about Lila's mother. "Her daughter will never learn." And truly, Lila never seemed to change. She'd rather sit by the riverbank watching her reflection ripple in the water than lend a hand to anyone. If someone asked her to help, she'd say, "Oh, my back hurts," or, "I'll do it tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. Yet despite her flaws, Lila wasn't cruel. She never spoke harshly or wished anyone harm. Deep inside her, there was a spark, a soft voice she always ignored, telling her she could be more than this. One spring morning, something unusual happened. A royal messenger rode into the village on a tall black horse, carrying a scroll sealed with gold. He announced in a booming voice, "By order of Queen Alara of Windmere, a great contest shall be held at the palace. Whoever can spin the finest golden thread will be rewarded with a life of comfort and wealth beyond measure." The villagers buzzed with excitement. Women ran home to gather their spinning wheels. Men spoke eagerly of the rewards. Even Lila's mother's eyes shone. "Lila," she said, shaking her daughter's shoulder. "This is your chance. You've always loved pretty things, fine dresses, sweet cakes. If you win, you'll never have to work again." Lila groaned, still half asleep. "Spinning? Oh, Mother, that sounds exhausting." Her mother crossed her arms. "You can't sleep your life away. Please, at least try." Reluctantly, Lila agreed. She carried her old wooden spinning wheel to the edge of the forest, where she liked the quiet. The trees whispered softly above her, and the scent of wildflowers drifted through the air. She sat down, sighed, and muttered, "Just one thread. Then I'll rest." Hours passed. The wheel barely turned. Lila grew tired and leaned back against a tree, dozing off. When she woke, the sun was setting, and to her horror, the basket was still empty. "Oh no," she mumbled. "Mother will be furious." Just then, a soft rustling came from the bushes. Lila froze. Out stepped a tiny old woman, dressed in shimmering silver robes, her hair as white as moonlight. "Why do you sleep, child?" the woman asked gently. "The forest is full of whispers tonight." Lila blinked in confusion. I was trying to spin golden thread for the queen's contest, but I'm too tired. I don't know how to make it beautiful." The old woman smiled kindly. "Ah, I see. You wish for golden thread, but you give no effort. Still, I sense something in you, a heart that has yet to awaken." She reached into her cloak and drew out a small wooden spindle. "Take this," she said. "It will spin for you as long as your heart stays true. But beware, if you grow lazy again, the thread will turn to dust." Lila gasped. "Truly, you'd give me this?" The woman nodded. "Use it wisely, my dear. Kindness, not laziness, will keep it shining." Before Lila could thank her, the woman vanished into a swirl of silver mist. Amazed, Lila touched the spindle, and it began to spin all on its own. Golden thread gleamed like sunlight spilling from her hands. She laughed in delight. "Oh, this is wonderful. I'll have the most beautiful thread in the kingdom." That night, she returned home with baskets full of glittering gold. Her mother's eyes widened. "Lila, how did you?" "I worked hard," Lila lied quickly, hiding the spindle behind her back. For days, she spun without effort. The golden thread piled up like treasure. The queen's contest drew near, and everyone in the village whispered about Lila's sudden skill. "She must have magic," some said. "No one spins like that." When the day came, Lila traveled to the grand palace of Windmere. The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers and music. Dozens of women presented their threads, but none glowed as brightly as Lila's. When Queen Alara herself saw it, she rose from her throne. "Child," said the queen, her voice warm and regal, "your thread shines brighter than the sun. Tell me, how did you make it so pure?" Lila hesitated. The truth trembled on her tongue. She wanted to say it was the old woman's gift, but greed whispered louder. "I spun it myself, your majesty," she said proudly. "With my own hands." The queen smiled. "Then you shall stay at the palace and spin for me. You will be rewarded well." Lila's heart leapt. A room of her own. Fine food, silk dresses, servants. She bowed deeply. Thank you, Your Majesty. Days turned into weeks. Every morning, Lila sat by the window and watched the spindle spin. The gold thread filled the room. Servants admired her, nobles praised her, and the queen trusted her completely. Life was perfect, or so she thought. But one afternoon, as the queen prepared for a grand festival, disaster struck. The spindle slowed. Lila frowned. What's wrong with you? She scolded. Spin faster. But it didn't move. When she tugged at the thread, it crumbled into gray dust. Panic filled her chest. No, not now. She remembered the old woman's words. If you grow lazy again, the thread will turn to dust. Oh no, Lila whispered. It's true. The queen soon entered, expecting her finest golden cloth. When she saw the piles of dust, her face hardened. Lila, what have you done? I don't know, Your Majesty, Lila stammered. The magic stopped. Magic, the queen repeated. So you deceived me. Guards stepped forward, but before they could touch her, Lila dropped to her knees. Please, I didn't mean to lie. I was lazy, selfish. I only wanted an easy life. But I'll fix it, I promise. The queen studied her for a long moment. Her expression softened slightly. Very well, she said finally. I believe in second chances. You will prove your words. Tomorrow, before sunrise, you will weave a cloak, not of gold, but of kindness. Help those who need it, and perhaps your thread will return. Lila's heart pounded. A cloak of kindness, she whispered. How can I? But the queen had already turned away. That night, for the first time in her life, Lila couldn't sleep. She wandered the palace halls, thinking about her mother, her lies, her laziness. Outside, the village lights twinkled in the distance. She realized how much she had taken for granted. At dawn, she left the palace quietly, carrying the spindle and a bundle of plain wool. She walked back to the village, this time not to show off, but to make things right. She found her mother kneeling by the well, drawing heavy buckets of water. Mother, Lila said softly. Her mother turned, eyes wide with surprise. I've come home. I want to help. Her mother smiled through tears. Oh, my child, I thought I'd lost you. From that day on, Lila worked, really worked. She helped the old farmer mend his fence, carried food to the sick widow by the river, and taught the village children to weave. She spun not gold, but warm blankets for those who had none. Each act of kindness seemed to make her spindle glow faintly once more. Weeks passed, and one evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, she sat outside, exhausted but content. She placed the spindle in her lap, whispering, I've done my best. It began to spin again, slowly, softly, and golden light filled the air. But this time, it wasn't just gold. The thread shimmered with colors, pink, blue, and silver, like kindness woven into sunlight. The next morning, Lila returned to the palace with a simple bundle. Your Majesty, she said, bowing low. This is the cloak you asked for. The queen unfolded it, and the hall fell silent. The cloak glowed, but not with the blinding shine of gold, it pulsed with warmth, as if woven from sunlight and love itself. This, said the queen softly, is more beautiful than gold. Tell me, how did you create it? Lila smiled, tears in her eyes. Not with magic, Your Majesty. With work, and kindness. The queen rose, draping the cloak over her shoulders. Then you have learned what no magic can teach. From this day forward, you shall be the royal weaver of Windmere. The crowd cheered, but Lila, now humbled, didn't beam with pride. She simply smiled and whispered, thank you. She returned home often, never forgetting her village or the lessons she'd learned. Her mother would watch her working by the window, humming softly, the spindle spinning beside her. The golden threads still gleamed, but this time, they came from her own hands. And though she was no longer lazy, Lila never forgot the old woman in the forest. Sometimes, she thought she could still hear her whisper in the wind. Kindness, not magic, keeps the thread shining. And so, in the quiet village beneath the silver streams, the once lazy girl became a legend, not because she was the best spinner, but because she had learned to spin with her heart.